Gary Nickerson.
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
And this is Outside My Window. Annually, the Travel Media Association of Canada, or TMAC, gathers leaders in travel media and the travel industry to host their annual conference. It's a chance to gather and network, share insights and ideas, collaborate and create, and host their media marketplace. Last year, a virtual conference was held, and in 2022's conference, it was set to be face-to-face, and it was recently hosted here in southwestern Nova Scotia. From June 22nd to the 26th, the Rod Grant Hotel was home base for close to 200 participants. Almost 90 were media writers, with the balance as industry professionals and government officials. There were pre- and post-conference tours for the travel media, making it the ideal opportunity to showcase the entire region of southwest Nova Scotia. Ahead of the conference, we chatted with Yarmouth and Acadian Shores CEO Neil McKenzie about how YASTA works with social media and how this conference is a huge opportunity.
Travel, influencers and travel media, like travel writers and things like that, have been a great channel for us to market and build awareness for our destination. And then we've got some great content out over the years from people that like that have produced great content for us and really helped build our destination. So, but we usually each year we work with 5 to 6 influencers and maybe some other travel writers, 6 to 10 maybe. But this conference is going to bring in close to 88 travel media in 1 week.
Wow.
And they're all going to be here producing content and writing, and a lot of them have already sold stories to major publications like the Toronto Star or Globe and Mail and other major traditional print media. So, and a lot of them have very large audiences as well online. So we're super excited at the market and media value that this is going to provide for actually years to come. So it's a really big deal that we have this in our destination. And it's a lot of work. There's over 80 partners involved in making this happen. And we've been just going straight out to try to, get ready for this. And there's a lot of work involved and a lot of resources and money that's needed to actually make it happen. But luckily, we've had some great supportive partners in the region and certainly municipally and provincially and federally to help us with this. And we couldn't be more pleased that it's happening. So it's going to be a really great conference. One of the things that we like to celebrate here, obviously, is the Acadian culture and experience and language and food and music, all the things that are in the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores that are steeped in Acadian heritage and culture.
With the pre-tours over and the main conference ready to go, we took the opportunity to chat with some of the conference participants.
Hi, my name is Craig Silva. I'm with BigDaddyCreative.ca. I'm a travel and food writer from Oakville, Ontario.
So, Craig, you did a pre-tour. Which pre-tour did you do?
I was on the Taste of Nova Scotia, so we pretty much ate our way from Halifax all the way to Yarmouth. It was fantastic and delicious.
Are you lobstered out?
I actually was lobstered out the day before we got to the day of the conference, but when we got to BMC Seafood, my colleagues all ordered burgers, and I saw that there was a lobster roll on the menu. So I asked the girl at the counter, I said, "How good is the lobster roll?" And she said, "It's pretty damn good." So I said, "I'll take one," and it was pretty damn good.
Thursday night, you had the lobster bash. That was more or less like a true area kitchen party. How did you feel about that?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was the first time I've ever done that. I've only ever been to Nova Scotia once before, back in 2005, right after Hurricane Katrina hit, actually. And this time around, it was fantastic. And just seeing all the entertainment and the energy in the room was just overwhelming. It was fantastic.
So, experience so far?
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I'm glad I'm here.
So if you had to pick a couple of highlights out of all of this so far, what would you say?
Definitely clam digging in Digby. I'm I'm really looking forward to the lighthouses. I'm a bit of a geography freak, so seeing all the lighthouses is just so overwhelming. It's beautiful. Walking along the boardwalk here and boarding the Blue Nose was a dream come true.
So next year, I believe it's Sudbury, so it's sort of in your backyard. What are you looking forward to there?
I'm looking forward to just driving about 3.5 hours north and hanging out and it's. Don't get me wrong, I love Sudbury, but it's not the East Coast.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Berthelot. I'm with the Louisiana Office of Tourism, and I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So you didn't get a chance to do any of the pre or post tours, but what's been your experience so far at the conference?
Oh, it's been terrific. The conference is great. Everybody here is like old friends, so it's been kind of like a reunion, and everybody's, I think, very excited to be back. We had a lot of great meetings, and we've taken some time to explore Nova Scotia.
What about the atmosphere in comparison to Louisiana?
Oh gosh, well it's kind of similar. I mean, we like I say, everybody's friends here, so there's a lot of camaraderie. We had like you said, we had the kitchen party for the lobster bash the other night, and it really felt like home. It was just because it was just the long tables of everybody getting served, hanging out, and it was very, very welcoming.
And the music.
The music is really interesting to me because it rings a little bit of Scotch-Irish, and then I can hear our Cajun music in it from home as well. So it's an interesting mashup.
Well, certainly Louisiana and Nova Scotia go way back. So the connection obviously is there. What are you hoping to take away from a conference like this?
I'm honestly, so I know a lot of the Canadian media that are here, so it was fabulous to see everybody again and reconnect. From coming to the conference here in Nova Scotia, it's been amazing because my family is actually Acadian, so I've gotten to see some interesting things that tied back to my roots. So it's been good exploration of the area, of culture, and a good time to just reunite with everyone.
Did you get a chance to get to the Acadian Village in Pubnico?
I did. It was amazing. I found some family names on their plaque, actually. It was very cool.
If you want people coming to your area of the woods, what are you hoping to pitch to them as a reason to come visit?
So we have a lot of reasons to come visit Louisiana. You know, we have a fabulous outdoor experience as far as all our swamps and bayous. We have amazing food. Music, obviously, we have some cultural ties with. And all of our history and culture is a great thing to explore. Much like I came here and found some family at the Acadian Village, we have people from here that can come to Louisiana and find where they landed there. So there's a lot of great ties, but there's always a fabulous reason to come.
My name is Rod Charles from Pickering, Ontario. I'm with vacay.ca, a website focused on Canadian stories.
So, Rod, you had a chance to do one of the pre-tours, and you're going to do one of the post-tours. So, what's been your experience so far?
I have learned a lot about the province. I've had a chance to do some really amazing things. I've had a chance to get my hands dirty, literally, with some things I have never tried before. I was with a world champion axe thrower, for example, and now for anyone who wants to know, I threw a bullseye. My first throw. Have not been able to repeat the fact since that, but that's okay. I can brag to all the ladies out there, I hit a bullseye.
So the other night you had a treat as well with the lobster bash to a true Nova Scotian kitchen party. What was your experience there?
Outstanding. The first thing that hit my ears was the music. Beautiful music by some very talented singers. And then the next thing was the sight of the tent, all those chairs. And I'll say right now, I am making your listeners very jealous, but I have never seen so many muscles in my life. Not in my life. I was muscle overload, and then the lobster came. So Nova Scotia, I honestly do not know how you guys look so good, because if I lived here, I'd weigh 900 pounds.
So when you go home, what are you taking with you?
Great memories, new friends, and some really good story ideas. One of the reasons why we come to these events is to learn more about a destination and to get more story ideas for our publications. And different journalists here have different goals. Some people here are golf riders, which I am not, but some people are golf riders. Some people focus on spas. Some people focus on drinks, brewers, and different things. So for me, it was a chance to get some good story ideas for what I'm interested in, learn more about some of the beautiful products here in Nova Scotia, get a chance to get dip my toes into Yarmouth a bit and see the people here and the food here. Above all, slurp on some beautiful lobsters and learn some new things. So some good story ideas here, some wonderful experiences. I'm going to have a lot to write about when I get back home.
So Neil, you're just getting underway. The pre-tours have been finished. Doors are open. How you feeling?
We're feeling great. Everyone's arriving, and they all have great feedback from the pre-tours, and are just so excited. Weather's cooperating with us, and everybody's here, and they're really engaged with experiencing Southwest Nova Scotia and Yarmouth and Acadian shores.
So the tours are one thing, but you've got a lot of PD activities for the folks as well.
We do. The conference is a really robust agenda, and there's lots of opportunities for learning for the media and the industry that are attending. And then, of course, we have a lot of events planned for the delegates as well each evening that they're here.
So one of the big ones, of course, is the Lobster Bash down on the waterfront. Rudders puts on a really good show, put up a big tent. Everybody's all get together. What's it like trying to coordinate 200 people all at once?
Well, I'm glad I don't have to cook 200 lobsters in real time, but that's one good thing that Rudders does well. They know how to boil lobster and serve it to a lot of people. So we're really pleased to be engaging with community partners like them and operators, and they're going to put on a great event. We're happy to be on the waterfront and showcasing the destination. The event, the Lobster Bash, is really going to showcase a lot of what Yarmouth and Acadian Shores and Southwest Nova represents, which is obviously our lobster industry, seafaring heritage, kind of a kitchen party vibe, a lot of fun. That's what we want to do, is just give people a chance to let loose and have a little fun, and eat some great food and leave with a great memory.
Anybody at risk of lobstering out?
Potentially, that could happen, and we certainly do have options for people that don't like lobster. But lobster's generally often front and center on a lot of our menu items, and we really want to showcase that. And that's one of the great things about tourism. It's promoting not just travel, but it also promotes one of our biggest industry in the region, which is lobster. So there's a lot of alignment there, and partnership opportunities, and we're really excited by all of that.
So really, this is not just, quote unquote, one of your average conferences. This is an experience that you're delivering.
Well, this conference, as I've been selling it, and we've had some conversations earlier, Quinn, on kind of how I've been selling this to our partners in our destination, is that we're certainly gaining from the traditional metrics you would get from any kind of event. We're getting great room night sales. There's spin-off sector benefit for all these people that are here in the community. There's awareness that's being built. But the real benefit of this conference from a destination perspective, which I'm interested in addition to those other awesome benefits, is the media value that we're going to achieve from the event. So, having 90 travel media here that are all going to be producing work and are producing work in real time as they already are here, is just fantastic, and having them produce more work after that is just going to be amazing to see. So
next couple of days, things are going to wrap up. Then you're going to have your post tours. How long will you sleep?
I'm going on vacation the day after the conference is over, and then probably going to sleep for at least 24 hours straight.
Hey TMAC, how are y'all doing tonight? Make some noise, TMAC. All right. So how was the lobster? All right. Are you guys ready for a little kitchen party? Come on, TMAC, make some noise. Are you guys ready for a kitchen party? Come on. That's what I like it. Here we go.
Of course, things don't happen without local and provincial support. So we chatted with the Honourable Colton LeBlanc and Town of Yarmouth Mayor Pam Mood about their view on the impact of hosting conferences like this here in the area.
No, I see this as a fantastic opportunity to promote our region as a whole, as a true destination, to support the tourism industry, post COVID, and I think it's an opportune time as we're transitioning into a post COVID world, and an opportunity to build awareness of our province, and particularly southwestern Nova Scotia and Yarmouth and Acadian shores, to truly show that we are a destination. We have many opportunities, and folks from around the world can truly make the best of what we have to offer for them. So in my time, when I had the chance to chat with some folks that were visiting from North America, many corners of North America, they were truly impressed with what we had to offer, whether it be food, drink, or the attractions. They were amazed that we're a little treasure hidden at the end of the province, but I'm really excited with the content that's going to be coming out.
We're selling ourselves as an experience.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much that we have to offer, from, I don't want to list exclusively, a particular business or whatnot, but, whether we're talking about boat tours to the Tuscan Islands, or, the culinary experiences. I mean, the best seafood that we have in the world is right at our fingertips, coming from the shores. And then, just the museums and the cultural experiences, building on our history and our rich culture. We certainly have a lot to offer to visitors, and I've seen that excitement within the delegates from the TMAC conference. They're really excited to get back home and write and show to their readers what they experienced over the last week in our region. And I think it's even a little bit more special is that, of course, with social media nowadays, they were actually able to get some of their content out right away. And so they were, putting different videos on Instagram, for example. I was following along, and it's quite impressive that within a short period of time that they were in our area, that they got to see and accomplish so much. But at the end of it, I know that they were truly impressed with what they were able to experience, live, and breathe, and of course taste a bit of Nova Scotia.
I know a lot of these types of conferences typically will hang around the urban areas, with the mentality that you've got accessibility to resources and experiences. But hey, we can show people a good time.
That's one thing from southwestern Nova Scotia is the hospitality is second to none. We are the true destination, and the people that live, work, and in our area truly make it, bring it up to step it up a notch and bring it to another level. And that's something that the folks that were visiting our region truly had an appreciation for it, and expressed how hospitable and how genuine people are, and that makes a big difference for me is how genuine folks are when you go to a different destination. But again, there's going to be a huge audience that's going to be able to be captivated by the content that's been put out over the last week here.
And so, I mean, the immediate effect is one thing, but this is a long game scenario for us.
Yeah, I mean, in the lead up to TMAC, having had the chance to speak with Neil McKenzie at YASTA and learn more of what was coming to our area. I mean, it was significant just for that week, and pre-tour and post-tours, of course, as well. But the number of room nights that it generated, I believe it was around 500 room nights. So that's significant for our area. Certainly in the pre-tourism season, I guess before the kickoff to the remainder of the tourism season. But the last one they had, the last TMAC that there was in Nova Scotia, I believe it was in 2016, if I don't mix up my dates. But the reach of that content in the days and weeks and months following the conference in Cape Breton, I believe the reach was like 32 million people. So there's going to be lots of buzz, created in the days and months and weeks ahead. And certainly, we're going to see and feel a lot more of that buzz as we lead up to the Congrès Mondial Acadien, which will be a huge event. I have a hard time, wrapping my mind around it, that there's going to be 20 to 30,000 people in southwestern Nova Scotia for a period of a week or so. So it's going to be a great event, but this year is going to certainly help put our entire region and all the best that we have to offer, put it out there for visitors to see.
People have said, we're a little out of the way, a couple hundred miles from the nearest airport, but we're well positioned to be able to host these sorts of events.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you just have to look at previous events to see the success that we've seen, whether it be sporting events or others. And then, of course, there's some that are coming up later this year in our area. But it's truly the people and the volunteers that make these large-scale events successful. And that's part of the experience when visitors come to our area, is get to interact with our folks and truly make them feel welcomed and appreciated, and of course they want to come back.
So for the participants that might be listening to our podcast, some parting words?
No, it's this event here. I had the opportunity to take part in Digby at an event with my colleague, Minister Jill Balser, and as well as an event in Yarmouth, and I'm truly impressed with the caliber and the quality of the experience that was provided to the delegates, and the sense of appreciation that they had for our region, and it's a terrific way coming out of COVID to build awareness of our tourism industry, not only Nova Scotia but certainly our region, and there's lots to be proud of, and we're going to build on that. And of course, always support local and get out there and enjoy it the best that we have to offer.
Mayor Mood, the TMAC conference was just recently held in Yarmouth. What's it? How does it feel to be able to draw in a conference of this magnitude?
Yeah, a conference of this magnitude is huge for a community of our size, for a region of our size as well, and it goes a long way. These folks will be talking about our community all over the world, for quite a while to come. So you can't pay for marketing like that.
And it's an experience more so than just a destination event, wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely. That's what folks are looking for today. Tourism, travel writers, they are looking for the ultimate experience. It's one thing to go to an event or, to go to a place, but, they are looking for that full-bodied experience, and that's what they get when they come here.
A lot of conferences like this for a lot of different associations typically will stick with the larger urban markets simply because they say, resource management, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, but we can show people a good time.
Yeah, hospitality is without a question our number one asset. It's our people. It's genuine. It's who we are. Everything's from the heart. And that's what I heard, that for the last couple of weeks with the travel writers, that they just couldn't believe how hospitable we are. Everybody, I always say, when you come to Yarmouth, you may come a stranger, but you leave as family. And certainly we've got some new cousins, that's for sure.
And one thing as well, a lot of these things don't happen without sponsors and without volunteers.
Yeah, and the volunteer base here, as everyone knows, is off the chart. It's hard to even put into words how do you thank these volunteers? This isn't a couple hours a week, or I think I'll take a Sunday and help out. This is morning till night, 7 days a week, full on. What can I do to make sure that this is a success? And they've done it. They continue to do it every time they step up. And I think that is part of what happens when we bid on these events. The predecessors and those that have experienced the region, they're looking for that, and they're asking, what happened when you were there, and it's top-notch service, and they end up coming.
I had an opportunity to speak with a lady from the Tourism Board of Louisiana. How's our connection with them going in the last little while? I haven't heard a whole lot that way.
No, I think it's going great. And actually, to that point, Argyle's MLA, Colton LeBlanc, has spent a great deal of time there in Louisiana. He was actually at my table during the awards dinner, and we chatted about that. So keeping that connection alive, there's family contacts, and it's not just a great place to visit. This is family that have moved away for various reasons, reconnecting. So there's history between us. The same as Maine and Massachusetts and all those places on the northeastern seaboard. So it's family connections and coming back to life. This is amazing.
For the conference participants that may be tuning into our podcast, parting words?
Oh my gosh, thank you for coming here, first of all, because we know it's off the beaten path, but I think you will all agree that off the beaten path was well worth it. I'm sure that they are filled to the brim with lobster and hospitality, and that they will say wonderful things about us, and that hopefully they will return. And again, like I said, you may have come a stranger, but now you're family.
Pam Wambach is a media relations specialist with the province of Nova Scotia, and she's also co-chair for the conference. And we asked her about the role of TMAC with respect to the location and agenda of the conference.
The role of TMAC in doing these conferences is to showcase various destinations across the country, and not necessarily have to always be in an urban center. So, this was done. We knew what we were doing, and it was done with a strategic purpose to kind of take them a little bit out of their comfort zone and to experience a different part of the province and a different part of the country. But yes, logistically, a little more challenging. When it was first originally planned to be in this area in southwest Nova Scotia, that was prior to COVID. So we didn't anticipate COVID, and we didn't obviously anticipate the challenges that came post-COVID with things like labor shortages of car rentals, the price of gas, etc. So all those things have been adjusted as we go along. But that's why I'm super proud to work in this industry, in particular Nova Scotia, because we have amazing partners, and we just adjust as we go. That's what we do. That's what we've always done, and we'll continue to do.
And nobody knows any different.
I hope not. I hope not. There's a lot of people it takes to make this happen. There's a lot of flying parts and moving parts in this, from logistics to planning to coordination, the volunteers. There's many things behind the scenes, but ultimately it's our job to make it look as seamless as possible. And I think we've been quite successful in that. To be perfectly honest, we tried to anticipate as best as we could. And now that we're on the ground, all things considered, even I'm surprised that it's been fairly smooth as we go on. Very, very minor little bumps that were easy to fix in a moment's notice. But that's because we have a fantastic host team here. It's not the first time we've done this, so we do know what we're doing in planning. We've got amazing support from TMAC and the likes of Donna Hatt, who is their Chief Administrative Officer, and she's just a key part of this as well.
At the end of the day, the economic benefit from a conference like this being hosted here is one thing, but what are you hoping the conference attendees will take away from this experience?
Well, there's several things. Like we set benchmarks and goals when the conference was first planned. Ultimately, it's to show off Southwest Nova Scotia as a destination now and into the future. And keeping in mind the impact from this will be felt for several years after this. It's not just the immediate thing. This is just the beginning. So it's that exposure, it's that awareness, it's that knowledge of what this area and this destination has to offer that'll be shared. It's not just from the social media posts that we've been seeing and fantastic pictures on Facebook and Instagram. It's the stories that'll be shared. And as we go forth with the 93 media that are here, from content creators sharing their blogs and their posts to videos, to freelancers that'll be selling articles to newspapers, magazines across the country and internationally. It will put Yarmouth and Southwest Nova Scotia on the map bigger than what it was before. The other great thing is to bring these media in here. 93 all at once is big even for us as the provincial organizations to showcase the region all at once, in that when normally, we're usually doing that many people, but spreading them around the province through the course of the year. So this has been several years in the planning. We did pre and post tours. After that, people will go home. The dust will settle a little bit. We'll do a review of this and kind of a deeper dive. What worked, what didn't, what lessons have we learned? We'll share it with the next destination, but then we also keep track of going back and looking to see what has been the activity and the level of engagement, and keep track of those articles and the features and the content that's produced. And probably within a year or so, we'll be able to have a report that shows the economic impact, but also that the reach. So from these 200 delegates being here, what kind of impact that have to reach the eyes of potential visitors, to put this part of the province on their radar as a travel destination in the future.
TMAC CAO Donna Hatt spoke to us from her office in Bridgewater about what it was like to host this conference right in her backyard.
Being able to do it right here in my sandbox amongst friends and colleagues whom I've known throughout my entire career, you better believe it was an honor and a privilege to be able to collaborate with those folks and see them shine so brilliantly for our guests, 200 of them, from not only across Canada, but international.
And when you think of these conferences, and I've said this a few times in a variety of different interviews, but a lot of times it's being held in an urban area due to the proximity to resources, airports, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, Yarmouth is, by the way, a little out of the way. Not that anybody doesn't already know that, but we can show people a good time.
Oh, my gosh, show people a good time in spades. Now, that was one of the most unique and interesting aspects of hosting our conference. And I don't consider our conference a typical conference, because when we get together as TMAC, it isn't just about sitting inside a convention center for presentations and sessions with scatterings of meals. We envelope and embrace the community because of our touring experiences. We welcome media. Media don't want to sit and be lectured to. They want to get out and experience and meet the characters that make our communities so unique. They want that authentic voice. And so we move in and out of the community. Being able to host our conference of 200 people, we took over the Rod Grand, and they were an incredible team to be welcoming us there. So it was like we had a home. We called the Grand our home. Our neighborhood was the entirety of Yarmouth and Acadian Shores area, but also Southwest Nova. And by default, removing people from an urban center and moving them into a community where they walked amongst the folks that they would see frequently over a period of, in some cases, 10 days for some of them, it became part of a family experience. Having folks say, oh my gosh, I was walking down the street, and yes, I had my lanyard on, which was actually a leash from Visit Barrington, but people would stop and say, Hello, welcome to our community. Can I help you? To have folks meandering around, taking an hour in between so they could stretch their legs and explore Frost Park, for example, and then be met with somebody locally who says, well, have you seen this? Only to find out they hadn't, and to be guided to that location. The magic that happened at every touch point, again, hosting events like our conference in small rural areas, it changes the dynamics. You haven't just visited a city or a town, you've become part of a family and someone's backyard, which was a magical experience that everyone touched on. And some delegates, upon their departure, again, I was trying to find out, how do you feel about how everything went? And one of them said, you have no idea. My heart is so full right now. And that statement in and of itself, I don't think we would be able to achieve that kind of essence and experience in an urban center. That only comes from places like Yarmouth and the communities that embraced us for this event.
And virtually, it's not the same either. I mean, you can hit YouTube and you can look and whatever, but there's nothing like being there.
No, and again, in 2021, TMAC did host a virtual conference, and I was a part of that conference. But everyone was one-dimensional on a screen. We did have presentations, and yes, we had piped them in, and we could have done that in this case as well. But again, as travel media, you have to experience to feel the essence of an area, to be embraced by the folks and their voices, so that you can share that passion and knowledge, and hopefully through the resulting stories that come from this, attract like-minded people who are seeking out those experiences. Do we expect that virtually? Absolutely. Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Tourism has done a great job at creating virtual experiences to whet appetites. But until you're here and you hear, and again, every morning people were getting up going, oh my God, I'm fog bathing today. For the start of the morning, of course, in Yarmouth and in many parts of Nova Scotia, there was some fog bathing going down. But they smelt the sea that was dancing in the air. They heard the seagulls. They noticed that the traffic was not really all that busy. And it was refreshing because they felt comfortable, they felt at home, and it's a different pace. The pace was slow, gentle, inviting, and always welcoming.
One thing I've always, said many times about a lot of these types of events is that it doesn't happen without sponsors, and certainly doesn't happen without volunteers. So, what would you like to say to the volunteers?
Our Travel Media Association of Canada opens up an invitation to bid to host this conference. So it is an open competition. When we go into this, we bring with it our own national level of sponsors, and they came out in spades again for us this year. But none of it would be possible if we didn't have our local hosts. And the mobilization of not only the financial investments that our local hosts pulled together and facilitated from the perspective of our local municipal government investing, the businesses themselves investing, the provincial government and through Tourism Nova Scotia, et cetera, investing. ACOA was a partner, that all under the leadership of Neil McKenzie and his team, facilitating and fostering all of those elements, bringing them together, combined with those volunteers. It was an army of folks locally, as well as nationally from our perspective, but locally. I was even greeting some of the drivers again just this morning. Here we are in Halifax on this particular day, bidding farewell to the last of our post-media tour folks. And it is the volunteers who have been driving and introducing our folks to the experiences along the way. And they gave of themselves so freely and willingly, so passionate about sharing what their community has to offer. You don't get that kind of pride. You do get it through people that are employed. But when people step up because they are so proud of what they have to offer and that they willingly want to share that, you get a deeper, richer sense of experience that we couldn't have asked for anything better for certain.
So, with the next conference coming up, I believe in Sudbury next year, what are some of the takeaways from this year that you're going to use for next year?
Oh, so many takeaways, but at the same time, things that we'll just continue to build on. For us as the Travel Media Association of Canada, we recognize and value the impact, economic, but also the sense of pride and opportunity that comes with hosting this conference. This particular time round, we worked so closely with our host community to identify what were the real needs and wants of that host community and how could we help them to address some of their concerns, like let's make sure people realize the distance should not be a part of the equation. What's there for you to experience on the other end really is. So how do we help facilitate that? We approached this conference as we have in the past with a zero waste goal, but also a community economic development lens. So every touch point in this past conference, we looked for, all right, we need centerpieces. Where might we be able to get those? Well, we went to Store Next Door so that we could engage and support a social enterprise. When we wanted to look at our lanyards and badge holders, could you buy them from Staples and continue on? Absolutely. But instead, we worked with Visit Barrington, Susie and the gang there, and instead of having lanyards, we had leashes that are a part of their project to raise awareness about keeping dogs on leashes when you're on the beach in hopes of protecting the endangered piping plovers on beaches. Our engagement with the local community from Acadia First Nation perspective of representing that voice, having first-person experiences that allowed that to be heard. The cultural diversity, and whether it was visiting the Black Loyalist Heritage Center or Le Village Acadien, or whether it was going haddock fishing and serving the local tastes of the area. It was a huge monster to mobilize, but in spades, the experiences that came out of this will, not only has it made those who attended richer and more grateful for what we have to offer, it has economically supported the community that we were within. And now, in the days ahead, not only through social media channels, but in those articles, those interviews, those podcasts, TV productions, etc., what that region has to offer will continue to live on. And we'll be looking for a way to measure more of those impacts so that we can also bring that back to the community to help recognize the value of travel media and how they can use that to further their own goals and objectives in the community.
Now, as this conference was being organized, a call went out for volunteers. And Quinn, you stepped up to the plate as one of the drivers. How did that all come about?
Well, I mean, if you remember correctly, when we were doing the interview with Neil, I said, look, man, if you need any help, just let me know. Most times that just flies over people's heads and you never get a call. But then Neil called and said, hey, I need a driver. And it's like, okay, all right, what am I doing? I figured I'd be just shuttling people back and forth. Oh, no, I got one of the pre-tours. So my pre-tour was lobsters, loyalists, and lumberjacks. I remember what that was. And so the group that I had, we went to Shelburne and kind of roamed around Dock Street for a little bit. We went into the Dory shop. There's a barrel making enterprise that's there on the waterfront. And while they weren't really part of the museum tour, they did let us in and showed us around. They were really nice to do that for us. And then we went to the Black Loyalist Center for a little bit, headed down into Clark's Harbor. Went around some of the beach areas there on Cape Sail Island. The guys are, lobster, and seafood for the most part, because my tour participants were all from Ontario. So as a result, we got a really good opportunity to kind of showcase all of Southwest Nova, not just the Yarmouth area. But we went to the UFO Museum. We spent some time with Darren Hudson, 7-time world champion lumberjack. We did his Wild Axe experience there. Anybody who checks my social media feed has already seen a couple of videos that I posted up. Fantastic opportunity. It was my first foray as a quote-unquote tour guide. Driver, sure, I can handle that part, but being a tour guide, so we did a couple of crafty things along the way to kind of bring the guys into the experience.
What were they most impressed with? What was your take? Was it the natural beauty? Was it the hospitality?
I think it was more the hospitality than anything else. And I think that's a common theme that we all know that we're capable of in the area. I think that, one thing that certainly holds true for us here is that we can show people a good time. We can encourage people to come back. We can influence them to come back and bring their friends. And as Mayor Mood said, look, you come as a tourist or you come as a stranger, but you definitely leave as family. I think that everybody that comes into the area that experiences here is going to leave as family.
I'm Gary Nickerson.
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
And this has been Outside My Window.